Hello, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Zach. Thanks for joining us. If you've been to my channel before, you've watched any of my previous videos, and you're a subscriber or not, either way, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming back and welcome. Today, I picked up another PDP snare drum. This one is the Classic Concept Maple with walnut stained hoops. It's basically the matching snare drum to the kit behind me. I won't be using it for this drum set, but I did pick up a BOP kit recently in the exact same finish, and I've been playing out with that a lot. So I bought the matching snare drum to go with my BOP kit. What we're going to do today, though, is I spent some time on this guy, and I did some fine-tuning and tweaking, right? So I did some fine-tuning with it. Not the happiest with it. A lot of people said it's not really, an easy one to deal with stock heads, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is I went ahead and, like I said, I tweaked this out, and then I also purchased some new Evans heads and some Pure Sound snare wires, and we're going to go ahead and do a comparison of before and after, from stock to aftermarket, basically, right? So from the factory, the PDP comes with, this Remo coated snare head on the top, and it comes with a Remo bottom, and unknown name brand wires. They don't even have the DW logos. There's no PDP logos. They're just some standard snare wires. So we're going to switch those out with some Pure Sound 20 strand wires. As far as our heads go, I'm going to be using the Evans Genera Dry. It's one of my favorite snare drum heads. And for the bottom, we're going to use the 300. I absolutely love the Genera Dry. Sometimes I also use the heavy duty version, the HD Dry. But these are great. They got all of your vent holes in them. But from the factory, it also comes with a dampening ring. So, I'll be excited to see what kind of sound difference. As far as tuning goes, I prefer a higher, tighter sound. It's just what I like as a personal preference. So I've gone ahead and tuned this up quite a bit higher than when it came. It really actually didn't have much tuning when it came. It was pretty awful. I'm still not 100% in love with it, but it is what it is. So I'm going to go take a second and go turn this microphone on, and I'm going to give you some sound clips. And it's pretty interesting how this snare drum, I've never really noticed it with a lot of snare drums, but it is extremely sensitive to where the snare wires are regarding it hitting on the outside edges versus the inside edges, with the snare, without the snare, and right down the center. It's very, very noticeable, basically, where you're going to hit it. So give me a second. I'm going to turn this mic on, and let's go ahead. Let's hear some snare drum sounds. Okay, so I got my snare drum mic on. We're going to go ahead. I turn the snares off. Again, I like a higher pitch snare drum. I tuned this up to where I felt comfortable. I don't play a lot of wood hoop snares, so I don't know what you really can or cannot take them to and what kind of pressure you can put on these things. So I put it to where I felt comfortable. Now, these are factory heads. There's no dampening. Okay, so there's some ringing, but I'm not going to put any moon gels on it or any, any tricks, no tape, no nothing, right? So here it is, snare drum off. Now, even for me, that doesn't seem very tight or high. It is a lower kind of sound, but I promise you I got this up pretty high, and even on the bottom, as high as I felt comfortable, that is. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this thing on. thing that I did notice with this snare drum, it is uber sensitive following the snare wires. So my snare wires are right here. If I hit on the outside of the center, especially over the snare wire versus not over the snare wire, it makes a huge difference. Check this out. So here's missing the snares on the snares. I like it. It's different for me, but I like it. I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to take everything apart, and we're going to switch it out with some Evans stuff. So let's go. Quickly, I'd like to say, if you've never seen me say it, white lithium grease. This is a new drum. It didn't have any grease in there, but I highly recommend this for anyone. Any drum, toms, bass drums, snare drums, put some white lithium grease on all of your threads. It will help with longevity. I promise you. I also just got this new PDP key. It is awesome. So A, it's magnetic, but B, the top has this grip on there, so as I'm going, I can make this finger tight instead of key crank tight, which is pretty awesome. Look at that. They're, I don't know, inch longer. So the original PDP ones didn't even go across the whole snare, but these definitely will. That's quite a bit longer. Alright, so I haven't tweaked it yet. This is just straight up. I put the heads on, put the snare wires on. If you're wondering, I was using this, I don't even know who makes this anymore, Rhythm Tech kind of drum key. It's like a quick cheater that I use. And then I went ahead and I listened for, all the sounds. But I haven't done that yet. This is just straight up, swapped everything out. Actually, I like it a lot without even doing much. So let's go ahead and see if we can't. it. So I definitely love it. Let me go ahead, turn this off, and let's talk about that real quick. I think it's a great improvement. You know, it's got a thick, almost colonial style, but yet I think it still has enough bite for what I'm going to like. So I'm really excited to put this on the BOP Kit and compare it with everything else, which in the future here soon, I'm actually going to do a Remo versus Evans bass drum comparison on an 18-inch BOP Kit. So watch out for that. It'll be awesome. I went ahead and counted this too. The factory snare wire, it did come with, these are 20 strands. I still don't see any names on them, so I have zero idea, you know, just Chinese snare wires. So is it worth doing upgrades? In my opinion, I pretty much have to. I absolutely have a sound that I like. Stock heads just don't do it for me, but you know, this is just a simple comparison video that I wanted to do for you guys, from the factory Remo heads to these Genera Dry Evans 300 bottom and some pure sound snare wires. So also, yeah, this little guy here, this is my first time using it. This key is awesome. If you don't have one of these, it's a PDP key. Like I said, it's got a nice gripper, so you can do some quick stuff there. But it's also magnetic, so I can stick it on my cymbal stands. And I'm really excited. Oh, there it goes. Really excited to keep that thing around. So, thanks for watching. Any questions? Put them down in the comments below. And stick around. I'm going to do another bass drum, or not another, but I'm going to do a bass drum video here shortly. So I'm excited for that. Thanks for watching, guys.